I just found one of the dumbest dating theories possible online. The date them till you hate them theory. Which basically means if you're in a horrible relationship and it's way too hard on you emotionally to stop the relationship from going on because it's horrible, you're gonna continue being in a horrible relationship until you can break up and it doesn't hurt as much. Why? Because you hate them.
Get ready with me while I tell you how I ended my 4-year relationship and wasn't totally heartbroken after. The reason I was able to walk away from my 4-year relationship is because I dated him until I hated him. Now, I know some people are about to come for me and be like, you should just end it. It's not always that easy. Some people make it really hard for you to walk away from a relationship, or maybe you're really, really comfortable with them. You've been with them for forever, and it is hard to walk away sometimes. So, again, date them until you hate them.
If you feel very comfortable with them, which means you're, loving your time with them, then why would you need a breakup? So apparently not everything was comfortable, right? And also, staying for 4 years just because it feels comfortable and it's sad to break up. So you're basically disrespecting yourself, putting yourself through misery, probably abuse or whatever. What I hope that's not what it was, but who knows what it was. And you were putting yourself through all of that shit and still you started hating him enough where it's more than the pain of breaking up with him. I'm sorry, but that's some childish bullshit.
So the first thing that you are going to do during this process is not get jealous anymore. They're doing things that hurt you. They know that they're hurting you. There's no reason to get jealous or be spiteful, start arguments anymore. Now what you're going to do is you're going to sit back. You are going to let them disrespect you. You're going to watch them disrespect you. And you are going to keep doing it until you no longer want to associate with them anymore. The feelings that you have for this person are going to start going away because they're disrespecting you over and over again, and you're finally seeing it clear that it's disrespect. You're not jealous anymore. You're just getting disrespected. Now that you're not getting jealous anymore, you are no longer overreacting. They're not getting a reaction out of you, and they're going to start doing probably worse things to try and get a reaction out of you. And what you're going to do is you're going to sit back and just keep not reacting. Now, I will say during this process, you're going to break your own heart a million times by staying around and watching this. But while it's all happening, you're healing.
This is the type of shit a teenage 15-year-old girl would tell me. Just give him back with them by ignoring him. Like, what the fuck? And also, if you're a jealous person, if you've got problems with jealousy, and if you're a partner, woman or husband, whatever, if they're disrespecting you and making you jealous on purpose, or maybe they're just making you jealous without even trying, right? Even though that's not their intention, right? That means you should start and fucking talk with that person. That means you should communicate. And everything you've said so far is everything but communicating. And communication is the number one thing when it comes to successful relationships. Doesn't matter if it's, between partners, if it's between family members, if it's a friendship between friends. Every type of relationship needs good fucking communication. And the ignoring them and just waiting so that time makes you hate them as much as possible, so then you just ghost them or break up or whatever, you just ruin your mental health. You're just ruining your mental health. You're just ruining his mental health as well, even though he is already ruined. Like, if he's cheating on you or he's doing anything that can make you jealous on purpose, like there's a scale. Depending on what he does or if he's doing it intentionally, you should probably communicate and, try and fix it, or you should just immediately break up because that shit is fucking toxic. And all of this advice is just more toxicity in your life. And trust me, if you're the type of person that's gonna tolerate someone disrespecting you and who's jealous and ends up with these kinds of people and just shut the fuck up, you're just gonna end up with a new person like this. Because this is inside you, that's some problematic stuff motivating you to just endure toxicity. Because even she mentioned that, I'm not saying that you're not gonna be heartbroken a million times, but you're gonna be heartbroken a million times. It's gonna fucking hurt, but it's gonna be worth it, because at the end of the day, at the end of the who knows how many years or months, you'll hate him or her enough, and it won't hurt as much because you'll break up with them. And it's like, wait, why not just get that breakup over with it? It hurts once, the hurting phase eventually is gonna pass. You're gonna find a new person, hopefully a better person, and you're gonna learn something from this person, and that's it. And that's how an adult should deal with this kind of a situation. You fucking dumbass.
You're already going through the breakup, and most women, when they decide a relationship is over, it's actually over because they've had time to sit around and wonder why the disrespect was happening, or eventually just get to the point where they're not wondering anymore. They just want away from it. So eventually everything's just going to come to a boil, and you are going to be ready to explode. The way that this person eats, drinks, the sounds that they make at night while they sleep, it's going to start to annoy you so bad that you may hate them. But like I said, eventually, it's all going to come to a head. It's going to start boiling, you're going to start boiling, and you're probably going to absolutely lose it. Might have a small, manic breakdown, but you're going to realize that you care less about this person than you did, a little while ago when you decided to start this process. The dating them until you hate them process will make you eventually hate them. And when it's time to walk away, you're going to be able to walk away, sis. Now that you've hit your total breaking point, you're going to be able to walk away from this super gracefully, and they are going to wonder, how is she so okay? But really, you've been planning this in your head. You've been dating this person until you hated them, so made it really easy for you to walk away, and pretty gracefully.
No, you're not gonna be able to walk away gracefully. You're gonna walk away with some mental health problems, because these are the types of people that make themselves develop some types of mental health problems just because they choose to endure all this stuff. So my perception of what this wasn't wrong. My perception was that you already don't like this type of relationship that you have with this person. There's already stuff that you hate about him. It may be, on a scale, it might be something like 1, like the way he chooses food and you should communicate with him, or a scale of 10, he's abusive, he's a manipulative liar, and he's cheating on you. So in that case, there's not a lot of communication to be done. There's a lot of breaking up to be done. That's it. And I can't believe that this is a grown-ass adult woman saying all this stuff with a straight face, and I feel bad if she ends up having a daughter or a son, especially a daughter. But if she already has a daughter, yeah, life nursed her. I hope she's gonna learn a better lesson, and she's gonna grow up out of this, and she's gonna know that this isn't the right way to deal with your life's problems. So even though I disagree with all this stuff, I found another girl explaining essentially the same things, but the way she puts it, it's much better. The way she explains it makes much more sense. Even though I still disagree, I can get much more behind her point than this woman's point.
Date them until you hate them. And I know that for some people that might seem like a controversial sentence, but the truth is you will not let go of that person, and you will not move on from that person until you are ready to do that. You might be in a position where your friends and family are reminding you, remember when he did this, or he did this, or he said this, and you're listening to them, but you're not hearing them. Because you don't want to hear them right now. You don't want to hear those negatives about this person that you care about. You don't want to acknowledge their red flags because you're not at that point yet. The right friends and family, especially if they've been through it before, will understand that moving on and that letting go and fully committing to that choice comes from you. And that is why sometimes the idea of date them until you hate them can work.
So I totally get her point. That should be something you decide. That shouldn't be something you should be forced upon on. And sometimes it's harder for people to let go. And again, it's a 2-minute TikTok. It's not that easy to explain. But I do think like this, I don't think you should wait until you hate them. But I just think even if you see some red flags, you shouldn't just immediately just start hating them or just immediately destroy the whole relationship. You should communicate with them. And also, a great idea she mentioned was, communicate with your family and friends. And family and friends will also understand if, it's hard for you to just break up. And again, depends on what the situation is. Abusive relationship or a cheater or a manipulator, much different than someone who has some weird, annoying red flags, and maybe there's some values that maybe aren't your biggest values in life, but are pretty important in your life, and you're just contemplating why is or why isn't a good idea to, be with this person. But a good friend or a good family member will always tell you if you need to immediately, right now, stop this relationship, because even though you feel that you're not ready, even though you feel that you know that you're gonna go through hell if you end this relationship, they know that it's it's better to go through hell right now and this relationship so it just passes as fast as possible and you heal from this, than it is for you to be in this relationship for as long as possible until you start fucking hating them and you just develop some trauma or some mental health problems and you're gonna bring them in your next fucking relationship. So I do think there is some point to be made here about selfishness and being selfish or not being selfish. I don't fucking know. I don't want to get into it that deep.
On occasions, because you get to a point yourself where you've had enough. You get to a point yourself where you realise I'm better than this, and you choose to let go and you choose to walk away because you're finally in a position where you see him the same way that everyone else does. But if you are not at that point yet, that is okay. And I know that sometimes it can be frustrating when you see someone going back to a situation that isn't good for them and it's so obvious that it isn't good for them. But remember that you have so much clarity when you're outside of a situation. Love is blind, and caring about someone and deciding to just walk away isn't always the easiest thing to do, even if it is the best thing to do long term. You go through that process and I promise you, things will figure themselves out and you will realise what you deserve and what you don't deserve, and you will find the strength to walk away if that is what you need to do.
So with everything she said at the end, I agree with her. I know it's much more nuanced than it sounds, but from what she said, you know, sometimes love is blind, if not most of the time, right? And a lot of the times, even though you as a third party watching someone in that relationship, you know that it's better for them to just, you know, end the relationship. Maybe it's better for both parties. Maybe both of them are awful for each other, right? But a lot of the times, they might be young. They might be not so experienced in relationship. And maybe a relationship like that, maybe it's gonna be a nice learning lesson for them. Again, depends on the scale of the toxicity and what's happening. If someone is getting physically abused and there's a lot of physical violence, then yeah, you should stop that immediately. But if someone is just going through a tough time with somebody, they don't understand the, you know, the ups and downs of a relationship. They're learning what they like in a person or what they dislike in a person, and it's just, you know, just normal relationship problem stuff, and you're just young in your 20s and you're just learning about yourself and what you like, then yeah, maybe that person needs to, you know, just give him or her some time until, you know, they realize if they're 100% on board with staying in said relationship or leaving said relationship, because, you know, they've learned through time if this is something they like or not. But when it comes to relationships in general, there's always ups and downs. There's never 100% positives. There's always gonna be some negatives to it. You should find a job or a relationship or, you know, even a fucking dog breed you like or dislike, right? There's always positives and negatives to everything. It's never black and white, and there's always times when you'll have to, you know, step out of your comfort zone, be accepting that some things might never be 100% the way you want them to be, because this isn't fucking Disney. This is the real human world, and I know we all fucking hate it, but that's how it is, right? So I do agree much more with what the second girl had to say. She basically said, just learn what you like, and if it's one of your first relationships, it's gonna be a learning curve. That's it. And she didn't really mention that you have to hate them. It's just the way the theory is named. Meanwhile, the first woman explained it in a whole different scenario where it's a toxic, horrible relationship and you should wait until you hate their guts. And just never try and end any kind of relationship with your family, or I hope you never end your relationship with your family, but with your husband or wife, or just, you know, a boyfriend, girlfriend, or a friend, or even a company that you worked in. Try and never end the relationship in bad terms, because you never know when you're gonna need someone in your life. Might be because of their profession, might be because of something else, might be because of just sheer circumstances and coincidences, right? That's about it. Tell me what you guys think in the comments about this whole theory. I personally think it's stupid, especially the way the first woman explained it. But yeah, I do think that there's some stuff to be, you know, learned from all of this. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And there's a link in the description and in the pinned comment where you can submit video ideas. Have a nice day. Don't be stupid in your fucking relationships, especially if you're an adult. Keep safe and have a nice day.